This is important. Ladies, stop using this. Stop using this.
The National Institutes of Health out with a startling new study. Researchers finding women who use chemical hair straighteners may face a higher risk of developing uterine cancer. While that form of the disease is relatively rare, the study shows people who applied chemical straighteners more than 4 times a year faced a 4% risk compared to the 1.6% for those who did not use such treatments.
For women who were very frequent users, we saw that their risk of developing uterine cancer was about double compared to women who did not use those products.
The study tracked more than 33,000 women for almost 11 years. And while researchers did not find race or age had any impact on risk level, they do note the adverse health effects could be more consequential for Black women.
60% of the women who reported using straighteners or relaxers in the last year were Black women. So the burden of this exposure really falls to the population of Black women.
Despite a growing movement toward more natural hairstyles, many Black women say they still face discrimination for wearing their hair that way.
And even though I feel like online people will say, oh, yeah, afros are beautiful, natural hair is beautiful, when you go into the workplace, you get side-eyed.
Chancellor Makanjuola says she straightened her hair for 2 decades.
Those are the risk factors that I now have to look out for because, again, this was something I have had put in my hair and repeatedly over time.
While it's not known what brands or chemicals are behind the raised cancer risk, researchers say straighteners could be riskier than other hair products because they can cause abrasions and burns on the scalp, possibly making it easier for dangerous ingredients to enter the body.
Thousands of Black women claim their hair relaxers gave them cancer. There are allegations that the hair relaxers, which are commonly used by Black women, have caused uterine cancer. Who use relaxers more than 4 times a year were twice as likely to develop uterine cancer compared to non-users. Women, we gotta make a change. Sister, we gotta make a change. As a Black man, I know that that's really like, who am I to tell you that? But I gotta tell you that. Uncle Tim gotta tell you that. Black women who use these products more frequently have been the main group affected, sparking 7,000 lawsuits against companies like L'Oreal and Revlon. These companies have denied the allegations, stating that their products undergo strict safety evaluations and that the science does not support a link between hair relaxers and cancer. I say that's what they want us to believe. So the legal battles are challenging as they require showing the products are harmful and that the companies were aware of the dangers but failed to warn consumers. Evidence like receipts to prove usage of specific products might be lacking for many plaintiffs. How many people kept the receipts from the relaxers that they've used over the last some-odd years? So now they're denying, oh, I see you got cancer, and I see it may have come from these products, but how did it know it came from my product? Could it came from another product? How did I know you bought from me? See, you can't prove it. Bye. High-profile attorney Ben Crump is representing the plaintiffs and has framed the issue as a civil rights matter, pointing to societal pressures on Black women to conform to European beauty standards. That's the kicker to the whole story. Black women had to have a law passed called the Crown Act back in 2019 that made it illegal to discriminate against Black women wearing their hair as it naturally grows out of their head. No other group has had to do that. No other group has had to have a law passed so that your wife or daughter or mother, niece, so the women in your life that you love can wear their hair naturally and still keep a job and not be overlooked for promotions or raises. Do you understand that? Sort of ties back into earlier when I was saying how people need to check themselves when they're going, oh, I'm so tired of Black people. Black people put up with shit nobody else puts up with in this country. And I'm sorry for the language, but you gotta hear, I mean, it's look, you can say whatever you want to say about what it's tough for being whatever you are other than Black. But no one had to pass a law for your wife to wear her hair the way it grows out of her head. In 2019, do you realize how long this has been going on? And not every state even has that law passed.
Curls, twists, braids, and locks. These natural hairstyles are popular in the Black community. But many workplaces and schools have policies that discourage them. But there's a growing movement to hopefully change that. Filmmaker Matthew Cherry created the animated short film Hair Love. The 7-minute short tells the story of a father learning how to do his daughter's hair for the first time.
That was so much fun.
The film earning Cherry an Oscar and a platform that he used to introduce audiences to new legislation.
Hair Love was done because we wanted to see more representation in animation. We wanted to normalize Black hair. There's a very important issue that's out there. It's the Crown Act.
The Crown Act is a bill that demands protection against race-based hair discrimination in the workplace and in schools. The word crown holds the message, creating a respectful and more open world for natural hair.
A lot of different ethnic groups, it's not even anything they have to think about. They're able to, wear their hair how they want to, get up in the morning, go to work, go to school, and, nobody bothers them. For Black people and people with natural textured hair, it's an issue.
It's also been not publicized to the extent it needs to be publicized. It's also been they needed to work. So there are a lot of added pressures to this that add ripples and layers to the problem. The FDA plans to propose a rule banning formaldehyde in hair straightening products by next April. Formaldehyde is Jesus Christ. It's a known carcinogen. The outcome of the lawsuits may influence industry practices, consumer awareness, and the availability of these hair relaxer products in the future. It's very frustrating and it's very sad the way sisters get treated, the way America treats Black women, the way these companies treated Black women. So basically what I'm trying to say is they put anything and everything in these chemicals that Black women will put into their scalps, which seeps into their bodies. Even known carcinogens. Because it just didn't value Black life. I mean, who uses hair relaxers? And that's the thing. Anything that's targeted to us, we always got to double check to make sure it's something we should be using. Anything targeted to Black people, you got to double check to make sure you should be using it. I don't care what it is. If it's targeted for Black men, we got to make sure that it's safe. We got to check, double check, and triple check the safety of that item, because when it's targeted to us, I don't trust that it's going to be certain safety standards. I just don't believe it. I just don't trust it. America has shown, they say Black Lives Matter was bullshit and that the organization is horrible. And and I believe, and I agree, that what they did with the money with that organization was bullshit. But you know what's not BS? The slogan. Because how else could you have this lawsuit? Why else would you have to have a law so Black women can have their hair out their head? So that they don't have to get relaxers. So the Crown Act banned race-based hair discrimination. All right, so here goes the states where the Crown Act was passed. I thought I'd add this. Alaska, Arizona, Arkansas, California, Colorado, Connecticut, Delaware, Illinois, Louisiana, Maine, Maryland, Massachusetts, Michigan, Minnesota, Nebraska, Nevada, New Jersey, New Mexico, New York, Oregon, Tennessee, Texas, Virginia, and Washington. If your state is not on that list, you are not protected under the Crown Act. I count about 20 states. That means 30 more don't have the Crown Act passed. So technically, there is no way to sue for race-based hair discrimination. And just having this on the books does not mean everybody follows the rules. What it means is, when you have this on the books, at least you can sue. At least you have recourse. If you can prove that your employer is discriminating against you or your potential employer discriminated based on your hair. At least you got a case. But if you don't have this act on the books, you can't even bring the case because there's no rule or law that prohibits it. So it is what it is. It is what it is.
You're watching the Black Digital Television Network. Become a subscriber for the best in Black thought on the internet. We keep it 100 just for you. And remember, it's a new day. Accept no imitations.